Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time seeing my face, my name is Sydney. I'm a perinatal athletic therapist and postnatal fitness specialist. I talk all things perinatal on this page, whether it is preconception, pregnancy, postpartum, postnatal fitness, pregnancy fitness, health and wellness, lifestyle, all those kinds of things. But currently, right now, I am pregnant and I'm taking you guys through my perinatal journey, kind of from preconception to now, which is I'm 12 weeks pregnant, and I'm kind of filming the whole process for you guys so you guys can kind of have a realistic and raw and honest experience to draw from when it comes to pregnancy and sort of traveling through your own perinatal journey. So if any of that sounds like it might be interesting to you, please subscribe and stick around for a while. Okay, today we're in my car because we are going to be doing a Q&A today. I asked you guys some questions on my Instagram and I got quite a few questions, a lot of the same kind of questions. And so I jotted them all down in my phone, and so I have them all here. And I'm gonna kind of read through the questions. I kind of compiled some of the questions together that I think will hit all the points that you guys want to know. I did get a handful of questions specifically more about IUD type stuff, so I will address that stuff because I know IUDs are one of those, you either love them or you hate them, and there's nothing in between. And so I would love to talk about that a little bit more, just because I feel like if you're looking for a new contraceptive and you don't know which option to go with, it's good to hear other people's experiences of sort of what they've experienced with different ones. And mine is a very positive experience. It's aside from a lot of the negativity that you see surrounding them. So I will definitely talk about that. I am actually in Windsor today. I am delivering some pelvic health brochures and stuff like that to the OBGYNs in Windsor because I have my midwife appointment today, and so I'm kind of delivering them. And because it's currently 12:46, they are closed for lunch. And so I'm just chatting with you in a gas station parking lot while people are driving right past me to go to the Starbucks drive-thru. And so yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so I'll start with more pregnancy-specific questions first, and then we will get into the IUD sort of related stuff afterwards. First question, are you hiring a doula? Yes, I am. Her name is Kaylie. She works in Windsor, Essex County. I will tag her page below. I'm really excited to have a doula, and I think that it will really elevate our experience. And the biggest thing, honestly, the biggest thing is for my husband. My husband does not do well in A, high stress situations, or B, medical situations, which is what the birth process is. And I want this experience to be the least amount traumatic as possible, to be as wonderful a process as it can be. I know that birth is not necessarily a lovely thing, but the better we can make this process for each other, I think the better outlook we're going to have, the less birth trauma we're going to have, all those kinds of things. And the biggest, literally the biggest reason for hiring a doula is so that the pressure's off my husband and he can just be there for me, and he doesn't have to necessarily feel like he needs to do something, or if I'm not able to tell him what I need, he won't be able to figure it out. That's just my husband. He does not understand or clue into any of these sorts of things, especially when it comes to birth and medical things. And so hiring a doula, I think, will be very beneficial in that situation. And I'm really excited. I think that she will be such a great addition to our birth team. Next question, OB or midwife? So I am going with midwives. My current midwife, or my primary midwife's name is Karen. I have actually met all the midwives. They're lovely. I'm with Karen. And so I'm going to see her for the first time today as a patient, and so, or as a client, patient, whatever they call them, whatever they're going to refer to me as. And so the reasoning for choosing a midwife versus an OB, I just feel like midwives allow more of a physiological birth. They allow you to go through the process on your own a little bit more. I'm not aside from the help. I'm not aside from having interventions taken that need to be taken. I'll talk about all this when it comes to like birth prep and stuff like that and sort of our birth plan. But I just, from everything I know, working with women who have had babies, midwives just allow that process to happen naturally a bit more. And so I would like that process to be, like I said, as physiological as possible. And I think that will allow us to have that experience that we're looking for. And again, I think she'll be a great addition to our birth team. And so with the midwives, you have the option of giving birth at home or giving birth at the hospital. I have chosen the hospital. I think it's because of my first responder brain. Maybe it's just because I'm very educated in what can happen either to you or to baby during or after birth. And I just, I don't want to freak anybody out, and so I'm going to be kind of careful what I say, but I need to know that if something doesn't go as planned, we are as close to the best help we can get as possible. And so we will be delivering in Windsor. Windsor has a NICU. Detroit also has a NICU. And so I need to know that if something doesn't go well, if something goes awry, which can happen, even if you have no risk factors, even if, you know, everything seems to be going perfectly, things can go wrong very quickly. And I need to know that I'm in a place that can handle it. And so we will be giving birth at the hospital, or I will be giving birth at the hospital. Next, are you finding out the gender, and what do you think it is? We will absolutely be finding out the gender. I am not patient enough to not find out the gender. I just need to know ahead of time. It's not so that I can plan. It's not so that I can buy clothes specific to the gender, because I feel like literally baby clothes don't matter if they're for a girl or a boy. They're gonna throw up on them in 5 seconds anyways. Most of our clothes are probably going to be hand-me-downs anyways. It doesn't matter about all that kind of stuff. We are going to continue decorating our nursery and planning everything the way we have been, whether it's a girl or boy. I don't think things need to be gender specific, but I just need to know. I am just a very impatient person, and I need to know what we're going to be having. I think it's a girl. I have thought that my first child will be a girl for years. I have never imagined a boy. I have never, I've dreamt about having a baby. I've dreamt about my future children, and I have always dreamt about the first one being a girl. And so, I think it's a girl. I don't know where that comes from. It's been years that I have assumed I'm having a girl. So I assume it's a girl, but I guess we'll find out. Okay, now we're kind of moving into IUD sort of questions. So how was conception after IUD removal? So my cycles were really long following my IUD removal, and to be quite honest, conception happened really fast for us. After I got my IUD out, we got pregnant on the third cycle. So it happened very quickly. Now, the assumption is, or the kind of general timeline that they tell you is, it's going to be about 3 to 6 months on average for people to be able to conceive after they have had their IUD removed. So it did happen very quick for us, but if I'm being honest, the conception process itself in total is not fun. Like, I found the conception process to be very overwhelming and to be stressful, and it's really hard to know what you should be tracking or what you need to track. It's hard not to get caught up in all the things that you can be tracking. It was a very overwhelming process for me. And I think maybe because the fact that it took so long for me to be able to get my IUD out, and the fact that I'm also very impatient, I was very ready to just be pregnant already, because it had been such a long time that we had been wanting to start the process already. So, and I have filmed videos in regards to conception and stuff like that. The things I wish I knew about conception before we started, all those kinds of things. I have filmed videos about that. All together, I just didn't love the conception process, but specifically to IUD removal, or after IUD removal, it was very quick for us. I had the Kyleena IUD, which is a hormonal IUD, but the hormones are located more to the reproductive system, and so it just takes a couple cycles for that to regulate itself. Next question is, why did you choose an IUD and would you recommend it? And then the question following is, what made you decide to get an IUD and the symptoms that you felt? So I'll talk a little bit about the IUD. I did talk about my IUD in a video previously. I can tag it below. I chose to get an IUD because I had hormonal imbalances for a long time, and I started seeing a naturopath shortly before Daniel and I got married. And when I was sort of trying to decide what kind of contraceptive I wanted to use, I didn't want to go on birth control. That just seemed like it would just send me up the wall. I don't trust condoms. Just the whole concept, I just don't trust it. And we were in a rough financial situation, and I was like, I want to do all I can to not have a baby. And I was talking to my naturopath, and she said, I think the Kyleena IUD would probably be one of the best ones for you. And so I chatted with her, I chatted with my family doctor, and then I also talked to my OBGYN, and they all agreed, yeah, Kyleena is a good option for you. So I did end up getting the Kyleena. I had it for 4 years. Yeah, I had it for about 4 years. I felt nothing when I had my Kyleena IUD. I literally hardly felt any symptoms ever. I never had any cramping. I didn't really have a period, but I would get some spotting every once in a while. And so that was like not totally abnormal, but that's just, yeah, that's what happened with mine. So I did kind of know when I was in certain stages of my cycle. I could still track my cycle with like cervical mucus and all that kind of stuff. It didn't disrupt my cycle. The only thing it disrupted was the formation of the lining of my uterus. So I just didn't have a period because there was no lining to shed. So I still had a very normal cycle that I could tell, and I could still track it. So while I had the IUD, honestly, very, very few symptoms. I remember when I first got it, like maybe for the first month or so, I had a little bit of cramping here and there, but not a whole lot. And so I definitely recommend it. I know not everyone had the same experience, but I really liked it. I never had to think about taking a pill. I never had to think about like making sure we had enough condoms or anything like that. Like we literally, I forgot that it was there most of the time. Like I didn't even think about it, and it was so nice to have that. So I absolutely do recommend it. I think that an IUD, if it works for you, is such an amazing option. Now, like I said, I have filmed an entire video on the IUD itself. I talked about the insertion process. I talked about all of that stuff. Sorry, there's something in my eye. I also talked about my IUD removal in a previous video, which I can also tag below. So if you're looking for either of those things, please feel free to give those a watch. I talk about it in a lot more detail in those videos. The IUD removal process was fairly pain-free, and it was very, very fast. The actual removal part. It took me a long time to get it removed because my family doctor couldn't find it when she went to take it out. And so I had to get an ultrasound and all that kind of stuff. But It was just that the strings were cut too short and she just couldn't find the strings. And so yeah, like the actual removal process itself was super, super fast. It was much less painful than getting it put in. But I talked about that sort of insertion and removal process in a couple different videos. So I will take that stuff below. So that's pretty much all of the questions I got in regards to just like general pregnancy and IUD sort of stuff. I will talk, like I said, about, I got a couple questions in regards to my birth plan and like things that I want to happen postpartum. I will do another Q&A later in regards to all those kinds of things. So keep an eye out for that. But yeah, those are all the questions I got. If you guys have any additional questions, please feel free to leave them below. I'll address them in a future video anyways, or I'll just answer your question below. But thanks for joining me, you guys, and have a wonderful day. I'll talk to you guys soon.